Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast, where real students are doing real deals in the world of multifamily real estate. I'm Vince Gethings, the owner of the Wheelwell Profits Academy. Listen in as we dive into the journeys of driven individuals who are turning their dreams into reality. These people are just like you, taking action and making things happen. If you enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, and if you're ready to take action, check us out at wheelwellprofits.com to learn more about our incredible community. Let's get started.
This is Movers and Shakers, where we interview the upcoming generation of make it happen multifamily investors to share their story.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gino Barbaro, one of the co-hosts of Movers and Shakers podcast, co-founder of Jake and Gino, multifamily investor, educator, father, and I'm here with my brosif, Mr. Stenziano. Jake, how you doing today?
Filling in for the Jaybird on his birthday, taking sales calls. Had a good time last night. Had the folks over to the house doing a little culture event, and always making it happen.
Me and Stenziano sitting next to each other. That means I am down in Tennessee today, looking at deals, growing the Rand fam over here. It was awesome. It was an awesome day yesterday. Anyway, today's guest on the show is JP Albano. JP is the owner of 72 units in Houston, Texas. They're currently undergoing a successful repositioning. He's also a JP in a 297-unit student housing portfolio in South Georgia and a 12-unit outside of Atlanta, Georgia. JP resides outside of Atlanta with his family. Mr. JP, welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, guys. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
So why don't you tell the, guests how we met and how we formed this relationship and how you're already into hundreds of units within a year?
It's a great story. I feel like when I got down the path of my multifamily journey, I started out a couple of years ago. My current day job is IT sales. And a while ago, I realized, as much as I love my job and how great my lifestyle is, I have to keep selling hard drives in order for me to make a living. So it led me down the path of trying to figure out how I could gain passive income. And real estate really kind of called out to me as the answer. And I stumbled upon the great guys at Bigger Pockets, learned a lot from them. And I remember seeing one of the printouts that they had done about how to get investing and how to really grow your business and scale. And a lot of their strategies around their BRRRR strategy, which is fine. But I remember reading a thing. It was like you BRRRR and you house hack and you BRRRR, you house hack. And eventually one day, many, many, many years from now, you get an apartment and then things start. And I said to myself, why don't I just start with an apartment? And that's the path I went down. And I sort of stumbled for a few months, didn't know how to underwrite deals, didn't really know what I didn't know. And out of frustration, I remember getting an email. I listened to you guys, your podcast and reading a lot of books. I remember getting a marketing message from Josh Rusin, your sales director there, or community manager. And it was an opportunity to join the team. And it hit me right at the right time. And I saw it as a great opportunity for me to get in there, get some education, get a team around me to help support, because this is really a whole new undertaking, right? And I've been so delighted by how your whole academy and your whole process has worked out. The community has been wonderful, and all the support that I've received over the last almost a year now has been wonderful. And I have to give credit where credit's due. You guys are outstanding. So thank you for that. And that's how I met you guys. And you guys have just kind of welcomed me into your family with open arms.
Thank you, Mr. Albano. I've got a couple of real good questions here. First of all, for everyone on the show, Mr. Albano is not a dig jammer. What I like to call, damn, I'm good, just ask me, because he wouldn't have all those units right now. Let's talk about what you didn't know you didn't know. Let's focus on that, because I remember sitting at the boot camp with you, and you were talking about partnerships and structuring partnerships, and you had that look like you do right now, like really confused. And I think it was an eye-opening experience to be able to sit in a room with 40 other students listening to a master coach and Jake and I discuss it, and the light bulb went off there. Because I remember at the time you were giving away too much. And I'm like, I think that one boot camp probably saved you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So can you just talk about what you don't know? You don't know. There's a few things in there that were really powerful.
This whole thing has been a learning journey. I'm learning every day, right? The more you learn, you learn from doing, at least for me. So that's underwriting deals and talking to people. And really, as a salesperson, my job is to solve problems. And when you're an apartment owner, you're looking for deals, you're doing the same thing. You're solving problems. And so one of the things, obviously underwriting is a big component, right? There's the basic gist of, okay, here's examine the T12 and look at what the income is and figure out what your expenses are. But there's a lot of art and experience that you can gain about maybe best practices around what you should do to kind of shoot for worst case scenario, right? So that you protect yourself from the downside. So getting a lot of that education from one of the coaches, Bill Ham, for example. The part that I hadn't been exposed to your point, Gino, was around how to structure your team, your GP pool, right? And understanding what a sponsor was and what a promoter was, and how to put those pieces together, and how much dollar value each of them should get was something that I wasn't exposed to. And so, yeah, when I got to go to your classes, your onboarding classes, that's really where I had the opportunity to ask those sort of questions. And a lot of it is a work in progress. Like when I first got started, I wasn't ready to receive the information on how to form and structure a GP, the general partner pool. It wasn't until you get later on where you're actually at the point where you're making offers and they accept your offer. And then you got to figure out, oh my God, how do I make this all work? What do I do now? Exactly.
So when you got that first deal, what were the opportunities, as you say, or I would like to say, the naysayers say the problems. What opportunities did you see in that first deal?
Oh goodness, everything is an opportunity. So the deal, the most recent deal I'm working on right now it's a 12 unit outside of Atlanta. It's in Austell. That one, it's a small property, bought it for right under $1 million, which, by the way, for those of you that are looking to start small, you almost don't want to start too small, because I beat the guy up, the seller up, great guy, got a great deal, but I almost missed the cutoff for a small balance loan, which is about $750,000. So if you beat them up too much, you might find yourself incapable of getting agency debt. Exactly. And when you start looking at the loan terms for those things, they're really not attractive. So that was one thing I learned there. And then I'm dealing with boundary line issues. There is setback challenges. It's a whole crash course in what can go wrong in closing. And now I have to demolish a single family house that's part of the property in order to get to closing. We weren't planning on doing much with the house anyway, but it was a whole variety of things that wasn't the same or wasn't there when I did my other 28 unit deal. So each one presents its own set of challenges or opportunities. And I remember calling the broker and said, hey, we've got a, I was going to say problem, but then I stopped myself. I said, we have an opportunity here. So it really helps when you change, for me at least personally, when you change that perspective from how do I solve this problem to what can I learn from this and how do I maybe prevent this from happening later on.
JP, how'd you select the market?
Great question. So I remember distinctly, when I first got into this, I was reading as much as I could. And one of the books that I stumbled upon was David Lindahl's book. I believe it was called Real Estate Emerging Markets. And it was a pretty thick book. And I remember going down to the Whole Foods, and I read that book from cover to cover in one sitting. It took me a couple of hours. But everything that was in that book, I was eating up. It really, really resonated with me. So I went back home and I tried to figure out, okay, how can I get information about population, job growth, all the statistics that we all use today. And I stumbled upon a report by the Urban Land Institute, the ULI, and they provide a yearly summary of all the markets across the country on multifamily. And what I did wasn't really super scientific, but it was the best thing that I could figure out. And it was look at all of the cities, the metros that had the most, the highest scores in a variety of checkboxes, whether it was population growth or like a variety of fundamentals. And I made a list of all the hundreds of markets down to about 10. And then unsophisticatedly, I sorted by affordability. I figured, crap, what am I going to be able to afford from a price per unit standpoint? I didn't really know anything. And as luck would have it, out of all the markets I picked, were sorted down, Atlanta was number one as far as affordability goes. And, at this point, I think I spent, 3 weeks just combing through this list and reading 2016, 2017 reports. And I said, I got to start somewhere because I'm doing this analysis paralysis thing and I got to start. So I picked Atlanta, and I'm really glad I did. And I remember, I'll stop there.
So how did you find the deals? Why don't you tell the Jake and Gino community, what's the best way to find deals in multifamily?
Great question. This is one of those things that I'm learning and adding to my perspective on what works, and obviously having broker relationships is key. But there's an element to that, and what I've noticed is that in the brokers that I reached out to in the very, very beginning in Atlanta, I was a nobody. I still am relatively a nobody in the grand scheme of movers and shakers, if you will. But here I am, some guy out of New York or New Jersey, calling them and asking them to send them deals, right? And by the way, I had a lot of personal hangups. This whole journey in multifamily has caused a lot of personal growth and development along the way. One, I had this really big hang up about calling brokers, not being prepared, thinking I was going to burn the bridge and whatever. So I feel like for people starting out, it's really important. Introduce yourself, ask for deals, and look at them and provide feedback. Because every time you provide feedback or you're reaching out to them and asking for deals, you're building that rapport and that relationship. And it takes a long time. And what I'm noticing now is over the last year or so is I am starting to get those not even off market, they're pre-market deals, where, the broker just got off the phone with the seller and he hasn't even prepared the marketing package, but he's thinking about some people. It's never too late never too soon to start reaching out to brokers. Follow up with them daily or weekly. I'm at a point now, and again, I'm not bragging, but I'm on texty relationship terms with some of my brokers, which is great. And in due time, right? If you can prove yourself that you're actually someone that's motivated and you're going to be sticking around for a long time, and you aren't saying stupid things, they'll start trusting you and giving you opportunities to get to deals.
A couple of my favorite words from students that I hear, and I heard it from you, is this deal just fell in my lap. And deals don't fall in your lap after 2 or 3 months. They fall in your lap after 10, 11 months of constant persistence, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Wears things down. So if you're persistent with the broker, all of a sudden opportunities show up because they know you're serious. But if you just call up and you're talking to the broker and saying, hey, you have any 8 caps in Atlanta, they're going to laugh at you. So, but if you're consistent and you're persistent with them and you become texty with them, all of a sudden, I will promise you, as JP said to me, on a long night, on a Wednesday night, we're on a mastermind call, and he's like, yep, this deal just fell in my lap. And I just paused for a second, and I said, that's an epiphany, right? Because a deal would not have fallen in your lap without the education, without being prepared, without the persistence. Am I correct?
That's right. Amen.
Hey, I got to call a timeout here. What is this texty? Is this new? Is texty new? Texty?
I don't know. I just made it up. I think I coined it. I don't know. It just feels like it should be a word, right? I'm texting.
No, I think you just created something. So the movers and shakers are doing it today. We're going texty with the broker, huh?
My last question before we get to the short answer and get to Jake. Why did you decide to move from New Jersey to Atlanta? What prompted that?
Well, someone I know, what's his name? I think it's Gino Barbaro originally planted the seed when we first got onboarded, said the idea, hey, have you ever thought about moving to Atlanta? And I remember distinctly saying, oh God, no, I'm not going down there. Why would I go to Georgia? But since that time, in the last year and a half, my family and I, we live in New Jersey. And it's great here now, 2 months out of the year. New Jersey doesn't offer the lifestyle that we really want. So we spent the course of a year and a half, a lot of time and miles on the road, going down south and trying to find a place that really was home for us. And making a very long story short, we stumbled upon a suburb right outside of Atlanta back in February. And it was kind of there all along, but I think it was helpful that it took me a long time to get to that point because I wouldn't have appreciated it that much. But yeah, we fell in love with it. It checks all the boxes for us. The winters are much, much shorter. And it just so helps that Atlanta is my primary market from a real estate standpoint. So I'm really excited to be a lot closer to deals. So when I get texties from the brokers, I can get to those deals instead of flying there. So yeah, so never thought about it originally, but you did plant the seed, Gino, so I'll give you credit for that.
I think everybody should think about that originally down the road. I mean, if you don't think you can do it next year, if you're going to move to a market and you're going to invest in a market within 5 years, think of yourself within 5 years of, hey, I like the vacation there. I potentially want to live there. I did the same thing. I moved to Jacksonville, St. Augustine, because I wanted to invest in Jacksonville. And maybe I wouldn't buy a deal in the first year or 2 years, but within 5 years, I want to be in that market, living in that market. So that's one of the metrics that I like to look at.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's take a quick time out to hear from our sponsor.
Hello, everybody. This is Jake Senziano, co-founder of Jake and Gino Multifamily Education. We are super excited to be bringing Multifamily Mastery Live to Orlando this October 19th and 20th at the Gaylord Palms Resort and Convention Center, located 10 minutes from Disney and the airport. This event is going to be the multifamily event of the year. Our team is going to be providing unparalleled networking, education, and capital raising opportunities. The event will be formatted utilizing our 3-step investment framework: buy right, manage right, and finance right. Your experience will include networking with brokers, lenders, and vendors from across the multifamily spectrum. Our speaker lineup consists of doers, or as Gino likes to say, the doers, meaning that these are professionals working in the business, making it happen day in and day out. If you're ready to take the next step in your multifamily investing career, click the link and get ready, because it's time to make it happen.
All right, and we are back. I'm excited about this one because JP, like myself, has a passion for personal development. We could go, a whole podcast on just that. JP, give me your best habit for success.
Best. So does it mean I have to pick one?
And you have to pick one, and we got to keep it PG on this show.
All right, no. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna break out my rose-colored glasses, as good old Chris Jackson
For the
says.
folks
So,
on YouTube.
Yep. So I've gone down the biohacking path and learned a lot of information about light and how important it is, and how influential it could be on your health or to your detriment of your health. And unfortunately, we live in a blue toxic world. And so these glasses, they help eliminate a lot of the blue light. Basically, in nature, there isn't just a blue light spectrum. There's blue light and red light, and kind of in balance. But the computer screen I'm talking to you from shines a lot of blue light in my face. And what it does is it messes up your circadian rhythm, your body's ability to fall asleep at night. And so I supplement that by wearing these glasses when I'm working on my computer screen, and especially at nighttime before I go to bed, so that I don't have problems sleeping. So I can wake up super early in the morning and text these with my broker.
Text these with your broker. So the glasses are what?
The glasses are blue light blocking glasses. Remember back in the 90s and 80s, everyone, all the rage for old people was the blue blocker glasses?
No. Well, but anyway. So we have blue light glasses,
yep.
and the benefit is
they eliminate or reduce the amount of interruption to your sleep.
Boom, G-Dad.
And his other I guess biohack is bringing sardines on trips and eating sardines. A lot of omega-3s. I know my boy. You see that?
All right. Best tip for transitioning from W-2 sales into real estate investor?
Great question. And I'm still figuring that out. I don't know if there is a best way. It's a matter of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable through the ups and downs on both sides. It is a give and take, and it's going to go through various dynamics as you ramp up in your multifamily career and perhaps ramp down on your W-2 job. But the crazy part is, I'm sure you guys know, when you get the phone call for a deal, you kind of have to stop what you're doing to check it out and see if it's worthwhile. So it's a really, really challenging thing. At least that's been my experience. So you got to be comfortable with doing both for a bit. You're
going to hustle. You're going to work harder than you ever have before.
That's right.
Tell us how mindset has impacted your real estate investing. How important is it? And give us an example of how you've utilized it.
God, this whole thing has been all about mindset. I mentioned before about, my hang up about calling brokers. Really stopping, asking yourself why you're thinking or feeling or apprehensive about doing a certain thing. Gino turned me on to a great book, The War of Art. I was to think about that one, which is a great book about resistance and the voice, in your head. And I have to give you guys a lot of credit, for keeping me inspired. When you talk about leaning into things, leaning into challenges, and getting used to being uncomfortable. This whole thing has been about being uncomfortable because you are dealing with money. You are making, big decisions potentially, And there's a lot of yourself that happens to get in the way. And just being aware of that, I think, is extremely valuable.
I firmly believe that 90% of this game is mindset, and that's why I was asking that question, because it's not rocket science. You can learn everything that we do day in and day out. How tough are you between the ears? That's what it's going to come down to a lot of times. And you touched on lean in. It's one of our core values. You need to lean into this stuff. And when it's scary and hairy, we're getting miggity mac on you today. When it's scary and hairy, that's when you got to lean in and you got to just handle it right on the spot. Otherwise, that will haunt you. Eat the bad stuff first. Be the great white. Go out and get that seal. And don't go for the small seal. Get the big seal, all right? Because it's going to fill you up and you're going to progress in your life. I was watching some late night TV. I'm sorry, I don't really.
You must watch some 90s stuff. You got a couple 90s references in here, right?
Miggity Mac, wow.
Do what I can do, So
that's Chris Cross, right? Chris Cross.
Yeah, you jump up and you lean in on the Jake and Gino show here. So, hey, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I think you're doing phenomenal things here. G-Dad, actually, no. Before we get there, how can folks get a hold of you?
Great. You can check me out on my website, JP. The website's refreshrealitygroup.com, or you can email me, jp@refreshrealitygroup.com.
Very cool. Gita, what you got?
Just want to thank JP for being part of the community. I want to thank him for reaffirming that everyone should invest in their education. That's where you should start. Free stuff is great, but that's just the beginning. I mean, that's not the end. And it's constantly having personal development, constantly working on yourself, constantly learning new skills, being uncomfortable. Because, I mean, what an amazing thing in 18 months, leaving New Jersey, buying multifamily assets. And within, I guess, another 18 months, you'll probably be out of your sales job if you continue. If I said that to you 5 years ago, you probably would have thought of crazy, right? But that's the thing. That's what happens when you grow and you become uncomfortable. So that's awesome. So I just want to thank you for being an amazing guest on the show, JP, and sharing your Movers and Shakers story. Now, everyone out there, if you want to be the next Movers and Shakers, email us at josh@jakeandgino.com. And also, if you like the show, please leave a review. Until next time, Mr. JP Albano, let's go make it a Movers and Shakers day, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, everybody.